Namaloha. So today I want to talk about Jupiter moving into gate 15 and go over the global cycles a little bit, the should contracts that are dissolving for the divine feminines, the feminine receptacle and what that means, the sleeping phoenix and the mutation of the divine feminine, and then a phoenix fractal reading, and then a twin flame message and false twin message. Okay, so let's get into this. And we'll start with the chart. So there's the chart. Okay, so there's Jupiter in the 15th. So it went into the 15th gate on June 1st, and it's there until the 26th of this year. So you can see there's the 15. It's coming from the G center, and the Earth is activating the 5th gate. That makes the channel. That's the channel of rhythm. So Jupiter in the 15th gate, I kind of talked a little bit about this in my last video on AI. Remember the 16th key? If you haven't watched it, go back and watch it. The 16th key was opening the 15th gate. This is the 15th lock, right? So it's an important position, the 15. And if we go to the global cycles here, you can see, and this is the last round. This is like humanity. Basically, humanity as we know it will be ending in 3674, according to human design. And you can see 1615 to 2026 is the cross of planning. So there's the keys, right? And then the locks. So these are the locks, 25, 46, 10, and 15. Right? So the lock with the gate of skills, acquiring skills in the cross of planning, the last 400-year cycle would open up this lock. And now this key is changing. It's going to change into the 20. And this is 2027, the 24, 38. So the 15 is pretty key, right? The lock. Whoops. Pardon the pun. 15 is the lock. So it's crucial, right? It's crucial. It never changes. It's not changing for this last cycle, but the keys do. The keys do. All you need to know are the themes are changing, radically changing. And that's why we're seeing so much chaos out in the world, because we're ending a 400-year cycle. So my intention with you, with the Divine Feminines and others that are watching, are for you to align with this new energy, right? And it's best to start now, aligning with this. So this is the new energy, right? So Jupiter is like the law, right? And it's activating the 15th gate. It's expanding this energy. So this is the law of presence, right? Being present. It's not about efforting it anymore. Right? In the sleeping phoenix, it's not about doing, right? Your aura is the most important now, your frequency. That's what you need, right? Is a strong aura, and you start having a strong aura by being your authentic self. And this means honoring your own natural rhythms. That's what this 15-5 right channel of rhythm is about, you honoring your natural rhythms, not clock time, right? Presence is the collapse of time, 15-5, right? Time collapses. No past, no future, only the present now moment. And this singularity, right? That's what we're coming into for the cross of the sleeping phoenix. So when you honor your own natural rhythm, the right people, right? People on your fractal, love, so the right people, again, in terms of your relationships, romantic and otherwise, and abundance finds you. It finds you when you're in your own natural rhythm. You don't do the cross of planning way, which is very strategic, right? This is about being receptive and being in the present now moment. So you don't carry, you're not carrying burdens, you're not carrying people, you're not carrying worries. You're emanating. It's all about frequency now. And you don't earn, you just are. So we're moving from doing to being. Right? It's a very feminine way of doing life. And that's why you're such an important key to this mutation, Divine Feminines. So let's talk about the cross of planning for the last 400 years. So you get a sense of what we're moving away from and what we're moving towards. And then we'll tie in how this works for you, and especially in terms of how you do relationships. Okay, so the cross of planning. These were the laws, right? The laws, the unwritten laws that you would follow. And it would guarantee success, right? So you belong. You got to belong somewhere. You got to belong to a family, a community, a religion, a place of work. You're with other people. You belong, and therefore you're safe, right? You're safe. You fulfill your role, right? So this could be daughter, sister, wife, spouse, partner. Could be, teacher, life coach, therapist, whatever it is, right? You play that role and you receive support. You sacrifice your individuality for your family, right? You stay for the family. It's for the good of the family. You sacrifice your individuality for the spouse, for your relationships. You sacrifice your individuality for religion, the state, your country, your system, right? The system, basically. So this has all been upheld by the 40, 37, 9, and 16. And where do you get those from? Well, we have to look back here at the global cycle, right? There's the cross of planning, and here's the keys. These are called keys, 37, 40, 9, and 16. So check your chart. If you have these keys, then you're part of this mutation. Okay, so if we go back to the cross of planning, so then we have gate 40 and 37, and you can see here 40 comes off the willpower center, 37 the solar plexus, 16 the throat chakra, and then 9 comes off the sacral. Right? So this is back here. Right? So these were the themes that upheld these laws. So gate 40 was you gave your willpower in service to the tribe, in service to your family, your community. You gave over your willpower. Gate 37, you were in harmony with others. This is the marriage channel right here. Family, right? It's the channel of community or family, marriage. So this was harmony through obligation, right? You had a duty to your family. You had a duty to your spouse, a duty to your community. And then the gate 916 was mastery and focus on acquiring skills so that you can uphold the system. You contribute to the system in some way. So we were all driven. This was the evolutionary program that's been operating for the last 400 years, and this is starting to dissolve, and we're seeing this, right? These systems are dissolving. So the cross of planning, this was the age of marriage as a contract. It was a contract, right? On exchange, it was transactional. Marriage is transactional. And then religion is hierarchy, and this is like God's on the outside, the divine's on the outside. You need somebody in between, right? That relationship with you and the divine. Nationality and your culture, right? All came before you and your soul. Family loyalty over truth, right? Content to just earn money, have a job, and be healthy, and have babies, have a family, and that's enough. That was the cross of planning. So this was the culture of productivity. Do, be busy, upholding. It takes a lot of energy to keep this cross of planning going, right? Well, the culture of productivity is coming to an end, right? So this is the end. So again, it's built on the 16 that I talked about in the last video. right? And this is AI is completely taking over this. This was the gate of skills, right? That's all about performance. So that's how AI is helping to dissolve this gate 16. We can't compete with this, right? We can't compete with AI when it comes to skills and performance. And then built on gate 3740, the tribal contracts, and then structured time. So love and safety were earned through your duty, your expertise in whatever field you're in, your consistency, and playing roles, right? So it also included the I should contracts. I should contracts with the cross of planning. So it can work like this, right? I'm a good daughter, I'm a good sister, so I should take care of my family at the expense of my authenticity or my sole purpose, right? Authenticity basically sacrificed for family loyalty. Your sole purpose sacrificed for family loyalty. This is dissolving these old contracts. I said I do, right, at the altar, so I should stay loyal until death do us part. That's a total cross of planning contract right here. No matter if I stop growing and evolving. So this is spiritual stagnation disguised as commitment, right? You don't grow. And these were all celebrated in the cross of planning. I stay in this relationship for the kids. This is basically energetic martyrdom passed to the next generation, right? This is dissolving. These contracts are dissolving. Even though my body is telling me to follow my soul through illness, pain, and lack of energy, your body's communicating to you, Divine Feminine, right? You say to yourself, well, I must obey this tribal contract for security, for my security. So pain becomes the price of belonging to this system, right? I stay silent and quiet so not to upset the status quo. This is really silence becomes the offering to a system that never fed your soul, right? You see, this is your conditioning that you have to let go of. This is the not self that's connected to the cross of planning that has to go, that has to die, this not self. It's not really you. And then I wanted to talk about, in terms of the Divine Feminine, how this contract can work for you just in a real, practical, grounded way, right? So this would be the feminine receptacle contract here. So I want to talk about, let me see here. Okay. When I was putting this together and kind of contemplating 15th gate, and I think I talked about this in a previous video about the law of conception in one of my videos. I forget which one. But basically it's an ancient yogic teaching, and it's that the male principle and the female principle, how they work, is that the woman conceives. You know, she's got her physical womb, but she also has her energetic womb. So, you know, the male plants the seed, and then the woman conceives in her womb and then births a baby. So the law of conception is that also what she receives from the male energetically, then she bursts that out as well, right? So she's conceiving. She takes whatever the male gives her and then conceives, basically. So to go back to Star Trek, to Star Trek Next Generation, this perfectly illustrates this, what happens, right? So this is part of the law, the unwritten contract from the cross of planning that the feminine, right, the feminine has done. So let's just talk about Star Trek, and then we'll get into this. Okay, so there's this guy, Alcar, right? So he's like an expert galactic negotiator, and he comes in onto the ship, the Star Trek ship, the Enterprise, and he's with an elderly woman, quite elderly woman, and he says, well, she's my mother. She's my mother. Well, the mother ends up dying on the ship, and the doctor discovers that, in fact, she's a young woman. She's just aged, right, really, really quickly. So what it turns out is that this negotiator was able to project his unintegrated emotions and shadows onto these women so that they became a receptacle for him of the things that he didn't want to deal with. And it made the women kind of crazy, but it also made them age really, really rapidly. So he was doing this with Deanna Troi, the counselor on Star Trek. And she started aging really, really rapidly and going a little bit crazy. It's called Man of the People if you want to look it up or watch it or whatever. It's really, and I love Star Trek, The Next Generation. So Deanna Troi, the counselor, she is really the divine feminine here. So you can look at her as the divine feminine. She's an empath, right, on the ship. She's a receptacle. So she just doesn't feel, she absorbs, right? And she pays the price in her body, right? Aging really, really quickly. And what Alcar, this guy, the negotiator, he's a metaphor what happens in the false twin or karmic masculine dynamics. So the feminine becomes the container for the weak masculine's unprocessed shadow, while he continues to appear spiritually grounded, emotionally stable, right, and clear to the world. He looks like he's got it all together, and his feminine's kind of, you know, up and down, emotional or whatever, or sick. Well, sick has all these mysterious illnesses and things. So this is the distortion of the gate 16, right, of the cross of planning. The gate 16, right, the key, right, that opens that 15. That's coming to an end. So this is the distortion of gate 16, and this is the performance frequency, right? This is playing a role. So he's playing, the masculine is playing the role of the wise negotiator, and then she carries the cost of this in her nervous system and body, right? And Alcar, he's totally the cross of planning masculine at its shadow extreme. Strategic, right? Rational, collectively praised, right? Praised by the collective, and energetically exploitive towards the feminine. And he chooses, like Alcar, the character here, chooses young, sensitive women to offload his shadow into. And many spiritual or conscious men that you see out there, right? These false gurus are just men that are pretending that they're spiritual and conscious. They're unconsciously or consciously projecting their unresolved trauma onto these powerful feminine bodies. So we'll look at how this plays out like in a practical sense for the divine feminines. So let's look at this contract and how it would play out. So the contract in the cross of planning is the feminine says this, right? So you learn this from your mother, your grandmother, and so on, right? It's within you, and this is what you're here to mutate now as a divine feminine. I'll feel, right? I'll feel your emotions for you. I'll take on your shadow so you can be strong. So this was the contract between the masculine and the feminine in the cross of planning, and now it's ending. So here's how it can work. Maybe you'll recognize yourself in this or not. Okay, so emotionally translating his silence. So he's not talking, but I can feel what he's going through. So she takes responsibility for interpreting his moods, his energy, and his avoidance. Offering compassion where he's giving nothing back. He's giving no clarity. And often excusing his poor behavior as wounding that she needs to understand, right? So that would be part of the contract here. So what happens to her? She becomes the decoder, the decoder, the mind reader of the partner, right? Not an equal partner. And this exhausts her. It exhausts her nervous system while he remains emotionally unavailable and not taking responsibility whatsoever, right? For his moods, his energy. Number 2, pre-processing conflict to keep the peace. Right? So it's like, well, if I say this, maybe he won't shut down. Maybe I shouldn't say this or he'll leave, right? So she rehearses conversations. She softens truths, right? Or swallows her feelings entirely, all to manage his reactions. Instead of expressing her truth freely, she's trying to manage him, right? So the result, what happens? She slowly loses her voice, her authentic voice, and she ends up walking on eggshells inside her own body, right? Self-censoring herself. Number 3, holding space for his healing while neglecting her own. Oh, he's been through so much, right? He's been working overtime. He's been doing this. He's been doing that. He had a horrible childhood. I need to be patient with him. So she becomes his therapist, his priestess, his emotional regulator, offering presence and forgiveness, right? That's okay that you just projected your shadow on me, right? And blamed me for something or got angry, right? You're right there forgiving, right? And patience, long past the point of depletion, right? So as a result, what happens to you, the feminine, she overgives in the hope that he'll rise, but instead her own healing stalls, puts the brakes on her own healing. She's too focused on him and his healing. And then absorbing his shadow as her own, right? So you start to say these things to yourself. Maybe I'm just too much. Maybe I'm too needy, right? Maybe I triggered him, something I did or said, right? So she internalizes blame when he withdraws or projects or avoids intimacy. There's something wrong with me that I want intimacy, right? And often gaslighting herself in the process. So her empathy turns into self-abandonment, right? She's abandoning her own needs. So she's absorbing his shadow. So the result is she ends up carrying his unprocessed grief, his shame, his rage, until it manifests in her. This is the law of conception, as exhaustion, illness, pain in her body, weight gain that she can't get rid of, and just basically spiritual burnout. Number 5, trying to earn love by being spiritually perfect. Right? If I stay calm, if I stay compassionate, if I stay devoted and loyal, he'll awaken. He'll finally awaken. So she believes that if she holds the perfect frequency, he'll finally get it. He'll finally come awake. He'll become conscious. She becomes the embodiment of patience and softness, right? But it's all, or sacred feminine, but it's all a performance. It's fake. But it's rooted in it's rooted in the fear of him never choosing her. What will happen if he never ever chooses me, right? It's that hope. I have to be perfect. I have to be improving myself constantly. So the result is she becomes completely focused on his growth and him, right? While her own soul is starving here. And the truth is that none of these things are love. Cross of planning has taught you that all these things are love, but they're not love. That's not the truth. This is energetic vampirism disguised as loyalty. So the divine feminine, she's not here to mother the karmic masculine. You don't need a karmic son. That's what you're doing here. You're here to reflect the truth. And then you let the energetic field respond. That's the 15th gate, right? You reflect the truth and you let the energetic field respond. So if we go to, let's get into the sleeping phoenix energy and the divine feminine, you and your power. Let's talk about you and your power and gate 15. So gate 15 is the aura. It's magnetism, right? So that old cross the planning way does not expand your aura. It actually contracts your aura. That's another reason why illness and disease get in, because your protection, your shields are down, right? To bring the Star Trek metaphor back, right? Your protection's no longer there. So the divine feminine in her power is no longer silently taking on emotional burdens. She's not going to take on trauma, guilt, shame, or confusion of others, especially the men in her life or these collective systems. But instead, she's transforming these energies through conscious embodiment, expression, and setting boundaries. Okay, so here's some key points here. So no more silent suffering for the divine feminines. Right? No more silent suffering. So the old cross of planning way is she swallows pain to keep the peace. The new paradigm, the sleeping phoenix paradigm, is she speaks the truth. She speaks her truth calmly, clearly, without apology. She names the misalignment, and then she lets the cookie crumble, right? Her job is just to speak the truth. She doesn't stay quiet when her intuition is dismissed. She names it even if her voice shakes. She doesn't stay quiet. She doesn't let the masculine, the karmic, gaslight her, right, and dismiss her. Number 2, no more emotional babysitting. So the old paradigm is you regulate his emotions so he can function, so he can be strong, right? You try to keep him emotionally stable. Meanwhile, you're taking on all those emotions. That's his responsibility. So the sleeping phoenix, she says, this is yours to feel. It's not mine to hold. It's yours to feel. I'm not going to feel it for you. If you have grief, I'm not going to cry your tears for you. So she no longer translates. She no longer explains. She no longer edits herself to avoid his discomfort, right? So example, she stops walking on eggshells. She stops soothing his shame or ego after her truth triggers him, or he gets confronted by life. His ego gets confronted. You're not going to soothe his ego, right? That's not your job as a divine feminine. You're the mirror. Okay. And then you use discomfort as fuel. So the old paradigm is you absorb the dense energy, right, of this karmic. And then you internalized it. Remember the law of conception. And then it comes out as illness. It comes out as migraines, fatigue, exhaustion, and body pain. That's the old paradigm. You're absorbing dense energy. Phoenix, you breathe and you move and you channel that energy into art, truth-telling, healing, leadership, or even packing your bags and leaving, right? Use that energy for leaving. So example, when rage arises, don't suppress it. You dance with it, you write it, you move it, you transmit it with creative fire, or you take action. So you use this discomfort as fuel. You don't own it. You're not going to abuse your body anymore. This is what you're doing, divine feminine. You're abusing your body when you take this on, right? It's not yours. This dense energy is not yours to take on. You're not a receptacle for his pain. And then you choose presence over performance, over the roles. You're going to be present. So the old paradigm is you nurture others. Even when it's exhausting, you don't have any energy. You still nurture others. That's the old paradigm. The Phoenix way is you honor when you have nothing left to give. And then you rest without guilt. You say no. So this is you canceling a session, right? If you're a therapist or a life coach or whatever, you're going to cancel a session. You're going to postpone a call, right? Or you're going to close a portal when your energy says no, even if it disappoints others, right? So you're going to put yourself first, and that means to be present in your body. And then the divine feminine becomes a mirror, not a sponge. So the old paradigm is you take on everyone's pain, right? You take everyone's pain on, and then you become foggy, you become depleted, you become unclear. And then the Phoenix way is you reflect. You're the mirror. You reflect the truth through your aura, and you let others feel what they need to feel, right? So this is like naming your karmic partner's energetic pattern, shadow pattern, without sugarcoating it. And it will create discomfort, but it's going to initiate awakening, right? Discomfort, we need to get out of our comfort zone to grow, right? So that's alchemy, right? That's alchemy, when you are going to start putting up the mirror to your masculine, right? Your karmic masculine, your true twin flame. And this initiates awakening for the masculine. So that's alchemy, and it forces the masculine to face his own shadow. You're not going to absorb the shadow anymore, his shadow. And this either causes repulsion, he runs away like a little baby, he retreats, he clings to false safety, he blames you or whatever. That's just information for you. Or he activates, he rises in truth, and he meets your soul, right? Either way, union or not becomes really, really clear. Like, oh, this karmic's not built for union, right? Or this one is, right? So keep that in mind. And this is the new way. It's all about your energy. It's all about being in the present now moment. And you want to let go of that old cross the planning contracts. Okay. So gate 15, the aura and your magnetism, it's your aura that's going to attract what matches your frequency, not your effort, not people pleasing, and right? Not the people pleasing, not the overgiving, right? No, it's going to be your aura that attracts and matches your frequency. But the shadow, right? The cross of planning, the old paradigm, divine feminines were trained to earn love, right? Through being an emotional sponge and confusing this with devotion. Staying silent to keep the peace. You're an emotional sponge, right there. People pleasing. You're an emotional sponge. Censoring yourself, you're an emotional sponge. Look at it like that. So instead of radiating truth from presence, right? Gate 15, they unconsciously distort their aura by translating his silence, by holding space that he never received, by absorbing his pain and shadow, and then becoming spiritually perfect, so that he wouldn't leave you, right? That's the old way. So Jupiter in gate 15 now says, for the month, you don't need to carry people. You don't need to carry your masculine, right? At least if you're fearful that he'll leave, at least it's truth. Right now you're living in a lie because you're not being yourself. You're carrying him. You're living a lie, right? At least you know when you start being yourself how that person reacts to you. And the karmics do not want you to be yourself, right? They're a mirror for your wounding. The karmics are a mirror for your wounding. They want you to be not self. They don't want you to be yourself or in your power. And that's how you know, right? And the true twin flame, which we'll go into, your true divine counterpart, your divine masculine, is a mirror for your soul, right? Is a mirror for your soul. Yes, they'll be a mirror for your wounding, but they're not going to be poking your wounds, right? Poking the scabs. They're a mirror so that you can see it, right? But they're also mirroring who you are, your authenticity. And that's why divine feminines that are in their weak feminine Like scared little bunnies are afraid of that because the twin flame calls them to be their authentic self. The karmic does not. Okay? What else here? So you don't need to carry people. You don't need to be useful to be loved. This is the old gate 16 that's going, the key. Play your role to be safe, that's going. And the new law is be present to be magnetic. Be present, no strategy. Be present in the now moment. Be authentic to be loved. You have to be your authentic self. So Jupiter is amplifying all of this, right? Your aura now. And gate 15 says you don't need to carry. You don't need to carry others to get love, right? You need to be in rhythm. That's that 515. You need to be in rhythm here. So this is the new way, right? This is the new way to move into this cross of the sleeping phoenix. And you're going to find that this old way is not going to work anymore. It will not work anymore, especially in your relationships. And the one thing I do want to say is your body. If you leave with one message from my video, is to trust your body 100%. Your body knows the truth, and it's communicating to you. There's something really off. If your energy is low, you're fatigued, you have illness, you got body pain, your body is telling you something, that this is not working anymore, this old way. And it's going to get stronger and stronger. And I've had women email me and say, you know, it was scary. I was scared, but I couldn't take it anymore. And I left that karmic relationship, or the karmic moved out. And she said, like, I'm just bringing them all together. Basically, they said, a lot of them said, it's like the first night that I've had a good night's sleep, and my body just is not in pain, and I just feel at peace. And I know that I'm walking into the unknown, and that makes me a bit afraid. But you know what? It's totally worth it. It's amazing how my body is just settled down. My nervous system is settled down, right? So try it, right? Even if you're afraid, it's like try to get some time to yourself, away from the karmic, away from that environment. Go and stay at a friend's house or something that you trust, that you can relax around, and just let your body start to get strong again, right? Because right now you're in a weak point, right? And the karmic wants you in the weak point, either consciously or unconsciously, out of your power. Okay, so the next part I want to go into is a fractal reading for the 15th gate. So how do you know if you're on my fractal? Well, Pluto, Scorpio, women, a stellium in Scorpio, a stellium in the 8th house, Black Moon Lilith in Scorpio, or you resonate deeply with my messages. And I've had men that have contacted me, and it's like I definitely relate to the divine feminine. Welcome, welcome. There's Pluto and Leos, Plutos and Virgos, right? That just means that you're pioneers. That's all. But the ones that are really on this phoenix are these Scorpios, because you're the phoenix. Phoenix is the highest archetype of the Scorpio. And this is transmutation. And you're here to help others go through this phoenix process, right? But you have to go through it yourself. So trust in your body, Phoenix Fractal, and embrace this new way of being. Okay. So, what was my question here is about transactional love here. Okay, so that you've got the 5 of Cups here. Do you see the 5 of Cups? And then the 10 of Cups in reverse. Okay. So this is a little bit about the tribal contract right? The tribal contract, and this is what upheld the cross of planning, is transactional love, a transactional love. It's the contract, right? If I fulfill my role, I'll be loved. If I fulfill my role as a good wife, right? I don't cause a fuss. I'm silent. I obey what my husband wants from me, right? Then I'll be safe. This is crumbling right now. If I stay loyal to him, he'll stay loyal to me. I'll be taken care of. I'll be kept, right? This is the old contract that's going. And this was the emotional economy of the cross of planning. Love is an exchange. Support as currency, right? So family, marriage, and community as contracts. Not living truth. It had nothing to do with truth. It's just a contract. That's dissolving. So the Five of Cups is grief, right? So the fractal's feeling the grief, right? The grief over the bargain not holding. So just look at that, meditate on that, the bargain. Where have you been in this tribal bargain in your life, right? Could even be with a place of employment or a family member. Doesn't necessarily have to be with your karmic spouse, partner, right? So this is you've invested years, right? Years, and if they're karmic, right? Lifetimes. You've invested lifetimes in this person. Years in this lifetime. You've invested this energy in a model that said, keep doing the work. Keep doing the work. Stay loyal, right? And love will arrive. Love will arrive. And now you're realizing it was all conditional. This was all conditional love. I'm tolerated when I think the same way, when I behave in a certain way, right? When I look a certain way. That's all conditional love. It's not real. This is cross of planning love. Right? So now you're realizing this. You've had the big coffee, the espresso, right? Double espresso. I see it now. This wasn't soul love. It was agreement-based love. There was an agreement. Maybe they were that was unspoken agreements, but it was transactional. And then the Ten of Cups reverse. This is the collapse of the ideal, right? I wanted that Ten of Cups. So this is the dream, right? The dream of perfect love. It wasn't built on frequency, right? It was built on duty and expectation and tradition and roles, right? Gender roles. You're the husband, I'm the wife, right? This is how we behave. And very traditional. And this is what you thought you wanted. And maybe you didn't get this, right? Remember the Scorpios, the Pluto and Scorpios, and people on the fractal, and basically the father. There's the father wound. Father was MIA. Maybe your home was unstable, especially if you're, right, Pluto, Scorpio, your home was unstable. Maybe you were looking like this is the dream. I want somebody, a man that's going to stick by me and be loyal because I want to heal that father wound that I had, right? And incidentally, the next retreat's going to be on the father wound and the divine masculine, right? So the internal divine masculine. I'll have more up about it soon, but I'm feeling strongly that's what the fractal needs, is to heal this father wound, right? So maybe this is where it's coming from, that child that didn't have that stability. The father was gone, right? This is the collapse of the dream. I thought this was what I needed, what I've always wanted as a child, and I finally got it. And it's all a ruse, right? It's all a mirage. So, because it wasn't built on truth, it wasn't built on frequency. It was built on duty, expectation, traditions, and roles. So you're mourning the false promise, right, of this tribal ideal. Well, that's what they showed us in the movies, in the rom-coms. That's what they showed us in these sitcoms and dramatic series, right, of this stability of the family and playing your roles and that you'll always be safe. The songs, right, taught us this, right? And all this is like falling apart. It was all an illusion. And a tribal ideal. So the one that said love equals belonging, right? So that was the contract. Well, love equals belonging. I need to belong somewhere. And now you're realizing, no, it requires self-sacrifice. It requires me completely denying my authentic self, my needs, right? My truth, basically. Now you're seeing through it, the relationship illusions dissolving. This is part of coming into the sleeping phoenix energy, right? The cross of planning is dying, right? It's completely dying right now. And you're part of this, part of seeing this. And then you've got, so this is like with the gate 15, if we bring it back to the gate 15, it's saying, right, from the sleeping phoenix, it means you're not loved because you try hard, right? You're loved because you're aligned. So let this go, right? I've got to try harder. I've got to improve. I've got to stick with it. You're not going to be loved from that place. The energy on the planet is showing you that, right? You're loved because you're aligned with your soul, with your soul. So this is the gate 15 versus the 37th, right? The channel of community. The gate 40 is I'll do the work to earn this love. 37, I'll keep the peace just to belong. And then gate 15 is like, I love from presence, right? Not obligation and duty. I don't love because I'm supposed to. Right? I love from presence. What's going on in this present now moment. So you're releasing the ancestral bargain from your ancestors of transactional love and seeing that this is an illusion and the grief is sacred. The tears that you're crying over this is sacred, right? But gate 15 doesn't want you to honor love by keeping the contract. There's no merit in that. There's no awards for you to do that now. Not with the changeover that we're going through. Maybe for your grandmother and your great-grandmother, you got the award and applause, but this will not be supported on the planet any longer, right? So it honors love by burning the lie, right? This is self-love. This is self-love when you go to your soul and it's like, no, this isn't love. I want more, right? I want more in this lifetime. I want real love, real love. That's when love will come, right, to you. So you're not here to earn love. You're here to become love. Become love and let the field arrange itself accordingly. This is a total twin flame lesson too, is that the love is already inside you, right? So you tap into your own sense of self-love, which is a frequency, so not a narcissistic thing, and then you send that frequency out into the field, and then in comes the divine counterpart, right? Attracted to your own love that's spilling over. Yeah, okay. So where's your true rhythm being suppressed, right? Because the 15 is about rhythm, right? It's about rhythm. It's about slowing down and being connected to the earth too, the 15. And that makes you more and more magnetic. So where's your true rhythm being suppressed or distorted? The Ace of Swords reversed and the Fool reversed. So you've silenced your own inner knowing. You've silenced your inner knowing and you're afraid to leap. You're afraid to move into the unknown, right? To leave this old energy. So it's not just fear, right? This is about you energetically and mentally censoring yourself. You're gaslighting yourself, right? Talking yourself out of your feelings, justifying it, right? You already know what's not aligned, Fractal. This is saying you already know what's not aligned. You do feel the urge to break free, but you're doubting your inner truth. You're doubting your inner truth. You're second guessing every instinct that you have to break out, right? And break out and move to something new. So you're hoping for external permission before you move, and that's like, I need the proof. I need to know that there's a safety net over there if I walk forward into the unknown. And it doesn't work like that, right? I want the facts. I want all the receipts. I want everything laid out for me. It doesn't work like that. You have to step in the unknown in faith. That's what the divine wants you to do. And that's what you learn to trust. You have to learn to trust. No safety nets. So gate 20, if we go back to 20, because that's the new key, right? There's 15 as a lock, and the new key for the sleeping phoenix for the next 400 years. Gate 20 wants presence. It wants you to be present. Gate 15 wants rhythm. So this combo shows the mind disrupting both. Your mind is interfering with your instinct. It's already in your body. Trust your body. Your body knows what it wants, where to go. Right? That's the rhythm. The rhythm, it's just being present in your body and not listening to that crazy mind here. And this is the not self. Your mind is your not self with the strategies and the doubts and the what ifs. It's to trust your body. Trust your own rhythm here. Be present in the body. Okay. So this Ace of Swords is in clarity, like let's cut the cords here. Let's cut the cords with this karmic situation. It's reinforcing the loop. It's keeping you looped. So you've already seen the truth, these cards say, and now you must stop arguing with the truth. You've already seen the truth. Stop arguing with the truth, right? You don't need more clarity. You don't need more proof. You need courage. That's what you need right now, Divine Feminine. You need courage to move from what your soul has already revealed to you. You already know. Now it's time for the courage. And the courage is to feel the fear and do it anyway, right? That famous book. You don't get rid of fear, right? But as you move forward, that fear will start to lessen. Everybody has to feel fear when they move into the unknown, right? It's just part of the process. Doesn't mean it's wrong. It means that you're coming to threshold, like a threshold. You're moving through a morphogenic field, maybe for the first time in your lifetimes, right? So of course you're going to come across fear. But remember, it's just a frequency. You don't want to let it stop you. The only time you want fear to stop you is if there's a bus coming and it's going to run you over, or you're being chased by a tiger. Yes, fear is going to help you. But in this case, no. No, it's keeping you looped, right? Keeping you suffering. Okay. Okay. So you want to get into the rhythm, trust your body. I feel like a broken record here. Okay. So what will magnetize the next phase of your alignment with abundance and soul connection? Abundant soul connection. So Jupiter in gate 15, this is the law of frequency, right? Jupiter's the law, 15 is frequency. So it's also the love of humanity. It's one of the love gates here. But not through strategy and not through sacrificing yourself, right? It's the aura of truth, the magnetism of alignment, the rhythm of the real and the true. So when Jupiter, the planet of expansion, right, law and collective teaching moves through gate 15, it amplifies your aura, which I talked about. But here's the twist, right? Whatever is false in the aura, whatever is distorted, whatever the ego is protecting, Jupiter's going to blow that out, the wide open. Jupiter brings prosperity and abundance. Everybody loves when they see a Jupiter moving through their house, right? Especially their second house. But Jupiter also brings loss. And the losses are what's not aligned with you. And that would be the ego trying to protect you, right, from your soul purpose, basically keeping you from that. Well, Jupiter's going to come in, take whatever's not in alignment with you and toss it, right? And it's going to be there for a year in Cancer. It's going to be in the 15th gate for a month, but a year it's in Cancer. It's going to be doing some coming in like a SWAT team, Jupiter, to get rid of what's not aligned. And it's a blessing, right? Jupiter brings blessings. But to the ego, it doesn't seem like that when all you see is loss. So if you experience loss, just know that it's making room for the new and what's aligned with you, right? So the Tower reversed, this is you trying to avoid, right? Trying to avoid, and look at the word avoid, eh? Void is the unknown, and avoid is not, right? So it's like you're dancing around the void here. So this is the refusal to let the ego die. Phoenix, fractal, to enter the Phoenix path, you need to go through an ego death. That's just part of what you have to do as a Phoenix. So this is the refusal of letting your ego die, the ego that's attached to this ideal, right? That's an illusion. It's not real. So this is the structure that you've built around trying to control love, trying to control the timing, trying to control your perception. And the Tower reverse says that you're bracing for impact. You know. The Phoenix fractal knows what's coming. And you may feel it in your body, like I know, like I'm anticipating something's going to happen. Like something big, right? So bracing for impact and trying to spiritually avoid the fall that would actually set you free, right? This is what's going to set you free. So what would I say to you as a projector is surrender. Right? Surrender to this collapse, right? This is setting you free, right? This is the storm, but after the storm, right? So with Jupiter in the Tower reverse, the aura can't hold both, right? The gate 15 wants you in alignment. And so if the outer rhythm doesn't match your inner truth, the aura becomes energetically unstable. It becomes stable, destabilized your aura. So Jupiter in the 15 says we're expanding your aura, fractal. We're expanding that, right? But only what's true can survive the growth, right? The false scaffolding must collapse or the soul will get suffocated, right? So this is expanding your aura so that your soul can really come into embodiment, right? But all that other junk's got to go, right? So this is, the ego death isn't punishment. Don't look at this as punishment. It's grace through intensity. This is intensity. So the Tower doesn't destroy you. It destroys what's not aligned. And what you're losing is illusion, right? It's all an illusion. And what you gain is the Two of Cups. And that's union, right? But only after the structure built on this, the 16th, right? The 16th key, which is playing a role, burns down, then real love can come in, right? For you. Okay. So, right, the illusion is the fantasy, it's controlling, it's approval seeking, it's perfectionism, it's people pleasing, all that's got to go. Okay. So this right here is going to bring a frequency test. Jupiter in the 15, right? It's a frequency test. So if your aura is real, right? If you're being your authentic self, then it's going to expand. But if your aura is like, it's all about playing a role, it's going to collapse. You'll go through this Tower moment. So the Tower reversed is you trying to avoid this natural ego death. But the Two of Cups behind it says, Only truth survives the fire. And what it means on the other side is the love you were made for. This is the love that you've really been wanting, not this karmic stuff. This is what you've come into this lifetime for here. Okay. So remember, it's not destroying you. The tower is not destroying you. It's destroying the not-self that was blocking you from true connection, right? True union with another. Okay. And then, what do we got next here? Is the Six of Cups and the Eight of Pentacles here. And this is what is stopping you, right? Stopping you. And this is really interesting too. This is the 40-37 as well, the tribal contract, which is all provide, all earn, but I expect loyalty and appreciation in return. 37, I'll maintain the peace even at the cost of truth. And together they're saying transactional love. This is childhood, caregiving roles, right? If I give, they'll stay. And this is where spiritual burnout comes from. So this is the child in you that became an adult by working for love, right? Working for love. This would be like absorbing the pain of your mother or your father, where you learned this from, right? The healer who became exhausted, the empath who became a vessel for other people's unprocessed pain, the receptacle. So what's dying here, right, is your rescuer self, the one that wants to rescue, the one that wants to fix, the emotional translator, the peacekeeper child, right? So this doesn't mean that love disappears. It means authentic love begins here. So this is about not working, right? Eight of Pentacles, working for love and you thinking that you need to earn love. This is going, right? This is disappearing. And so then what is, and this is the tribal contract right here. That's got to go. So you're not here to earn love. And what's awakening now, ready to be lived? The Six of Swords and the Five of Swords. Six of Swords reversed. And this is the refusal to spiritual bypass, right? This is the refusal to bypass conflict, right? Five of Swords. I'm not going to avoid this conflict with the karmic, right? I have now the courage to confront this distortion. I have the courage to say, you know what? I'm not taking on your shadow anymore. I'm not feeling your emotions for you anymore, right? I'm going to speak the truth to you. I'm not going to tiptoe around your ego anymore. So you can't spiritually bypass anymore. You're being asked to face the internal war, because there's an internal war within you with the Five of Swords too, right? The parts of yourself that believe that love meant you had to abandon yourself. So this is no more peacekeeping here. No more false harmony. You have to name what's off. You have to name what's off in yourself and your relationships in your field. You don't need to escape. You don't need to escape. You need to speak, right? And if you're on my fractal, then you've got a past life as a Cathar and you've took a vow of silence. Well, now it's time for you to speak, right? You need to speak. Conflict isn't a failure. It's a portal to truth. Okay, so what you're being called to do, just for the wrap up, is to grieve the illusion. The illusion's gone, it's dying, you know that. Trust your inner clarity, Let the collapse reveal real union, reveal the real union that's waiting for you. Grieve the worker child here that's got to earn, that she believes that she has to earn love. And then stop bypassing and speak your frequency, which is speak your truth in the present now moment. No more bypassing, no more self-censorship. And so your aura is trying to activate gate 15, but only with gate 20, right? And that's being present. And this is radical truth-telling can unlock this. Okay. So there we go with the fractal read. Okay, and then let's go for the twin flames right here. Okay, this is interesting. So you know how I read it? False twin first. That's the karmic relationship. Or you may believe that this person is your twin flame, your false twin flame. So we'll do the false first, and then the true twin flame. So what's the energetic pattern that the divine feminine on my fractal, on the twin flame journey, is still healing in relationship? And you got the Three of Swords and the Seven of Pentacles. So for the false twin, it's waiting for someone to value you. You're still waiting for someone to value you, even after you've been betrayed. So you've gone through a deep betrayal. Right? So you've gone through a deep betrayal with the false twin, the karmic. You're waiting for them to value you. And so this is the pattern, right, that I talked about at the beginning of the video, right? If I'm patient enough, right, he'll finally see my worth. He'll finally see my worth. So you invest in emotionally unavailable partners, hoping time and effort. This is so the father wound right here. You invest in emotionally unavailable partners, hoping that time and effort will rid yourself of this pain, right? That'll be worth it, right? All this pain that you're going through, the grief of not being seen, neglected, right? Not valued, talked over, right? Anything, you don't matter. All that pain that you feel of being rejected and abandoned will finally pay off, and it'll finally come around. There's a miracle. The karmic will come and value you and see you, all, right? Right? And throw you more than a crumb. Right? So this is the old program. The old program. So this is you investing in an emotionally unavailable partner. And why are you doing that? So that you can face this wound of not valuing yourself that comes from childhood, right? The karmic is poking at that wound, right? So that you can see it. You're not going to heal it with your karmic. This doesn't work that way. He's not coded for union, right? He's coded to show you your wound and what you have to work on, right? So this is totally like value. You have to value yourself. You have to know your worth, right? So this is the classic trauma bond right here, where heartbreak becomes a proof of love. This is how sick this is, right? That my heartbreak, getting my wound, like, right, like picked at constantly by this karmic, it's proof that I love him, that this is real love. It's like, no, this is a trauma bond. It's karmic. So, right, and then what you say to yourself, when it hurt, well, it hurts so much, it's so intense, it's got to be a twin flame, it's got to be a soulmate. It's like, no, it's to show you your wounding, right? So take the reflection. Take the reflection. Okay, this is my wound. I've got a self-worth issue. And then you start working on it and you integrate it. And then this disappears because you don't need the reflection anymore, right? That's how it works in the spiritual world. So what does the false twin reflect back to you? Look at this. Five of Pentacles, right? I'm unworthy, right? This is what it's poking. This is the wound. I'm unworthy. I must earn love. The false twin reflects your abandonment wound, your rejection wound. He's emotionally cold, he's spiritually unavailable, but he keeps you hooked by hopium, right? And the hopium is the longing and the yearning, right? The longing and the yearning. That's what's keeping you threaded to him, right? Tethered to him. The longing and the yearning. Well, maybe one day, and that's what you did as a child, right? Maybe one day my father will come back. Maybe one day my father will rescue me and I'll be happy, right? That's this. He's showing you that. This is what he's showing you. So you feel outside of yourself, outside of happiness and warmth. And you're starving for connection. This is soul's poverty right here. I'm starved for connection. My soul is not getting nurtured here, just like when I was a child, right? So this is if I just sacrifice more, right? If I just sacrifice enough, then I'll be let inside. I'll be in this warmth and happiness, and that's where you want to be, right? So this is gate 4037, big time, right? If I'm loyal, he'll keep me. Right? If I'm loyal, he'll keep me. He won't throw me away, right? This, as long as I'm loyal. And this is so cross the planning, right? So what does the false twin awaken in you? The Eight of Cups. This is I'm packing my bags, right? I'm packing my bags. I'm packing my bags and I'm going. So what the false twin is awakening in you, right, is you're afraid to walk away. You're afraid to walk away, even when you know it's empty. Even like this, you know that it's this, right? The false flame keeps you locked in the fantasy of potential. Always, almost, always, not yet. The Eight of Cups is the card of emotional honesty. And with the false flame, you're avoiding it. What if I walk away and no one else comes? Maybe what would happen if I walk away and he didn't chase me? What if I walk away and I'll always be alone in life, in the world, right? Right? So that's the fear here. Okay, what must collapse for the true union to arrive here, right? So this is the false twin connection, right? So this is the Queen of Cups reversed. This is the overgiving, right? The emotional sponge. This is the receptacle. So this is the version of you that absorbs his pain, has got to go. You manage his feelings. You wait for his timing. It's all about his timing when he wants to give you attention or intimacy or whatever. And then you lose yourself in the process, right? So this queen, because she's reversed, she's not sovereign. She's not in her power. She's a wounded empath, right? Just a sponge, pretending that it's love, pretending that this is love. So you have to release your identity, right? Your identity as the caregiver, as the healer who gets chosen in the end. Finally, he sees me, all the martyrdom that I've done, right? All the suppression, then he's finally going to see what I've done, right? No, this has to go. This is a martyr identity that has to go. Okay, so what's the current status of this relationship? Two of Swords, Knight of Swords, mental. So the karmic masculine is mentally reactive. He's emotionally blocked. He's on the run, right? Two of Swords, he's shut down to truth. And then talks fast, right? Busy mind, Knight of Swords, talks fast, doesn't listen, does most of the talking, does not listen. He doesn't move from his soul. He's moving from his ego. With urgency, he's avoiding any kind of confrontation. He's staying busy, right? He's avoiding you. So he may say the right things and have the right language, but they don't land in your body. That's the difference, right? With the false twin, the words just go, because he's speaking from his head. So it's head, 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 head. It's not landing in your body, right? So this is speed without any depth, right? This is like no substance. It's all surface substance. The talk is all surface chit chat, right? On the surface, intellectually stimulating maybe, but no depth to it. Okay. So then let's look at the true twin here. If we look at it from the true twin connection. Okay. So the true twin awakens your grief. Awakens your grief. Not to wound you. It's not about wounding you. But it's showing you what you've kept buried. Right? So here's the true twin flame, right? So if you look at, like, if you have a cup of coffee in your cup and somebody accidentally, bumps into you, what comes out of that cup? It's coffee, right? Tea doesn't come out of that cup. Coffee does. And what is that? That's kind of like the twin flame thing. Like the grief is already inside you, right? The twin is mirroring that for you. Will mirror that back, showing you what's buried inside you, what's in that cup. It's not creating it. The ego will like to say that, well, the twin's creating all this grief in me. It's like, no, the grief was already inside you. The twin mirrors it to you, shows you what you've been burying so that you can finally heal it, right? There's none of that with the karmic. It's completely different. They're poking at the wound, right? They're poking at the wound. So the Three of Swords becomes sacred release, right? And the Seven of Pentacles says that you've planted the seeds of healing right here and stop watering the grave. True union can't grow in the soil of resentment or waiting. No waiting, not feeling resentful towards your twin. It begins when the Divine Feminine stops trying to prove her worth through her pain and suffering. It's time to stop and feel this grief and know that it's not from the twin, right? The grief's already inside you. You need to stop and feel it, right? Stop and feel it. So what does the true twin reflect back to you? The return to yourself here, right? Not through the other, not through the twin, but to yourself. This is union with yourself, right? So this is, he doesn't fill the void. You got to get that Divine Feminine. The Divine Masculine does not fill the void, right? He activates her, right, to fill it from within. He activates her to go inside and to fill up her own cup. Right? The Divine Masculine doesn't come to the Divine Feminine with his cup and he's going to pour the cup. No, they both have to have full cups, right? So this is what he's reflecting back to her, right? The Divine Masculine is that you need to fill up your own cup. You need to go inside, right? Inside to yourself, to your own soul. So he's going to hold you. He's holding up the mirror that you need to go back inside. He's not here to rescue you. He's not here to be the white knight and rescue you from your pain, right? It's like, no, you got to go and see, you got to feel the grief and then go inside. Go inside. And that can just feel uncomfortable, right? It can feel uncomfortable, but it doesn't drain you like the karmic. The karmic will drain your energy. This does not drain you when you go inside. It restores your sovereignty, right? Your wholeness. So what does the true twin awaken in you is the Eight of Cups. So this is the courage. The true twin, right, awakens the courage. You have this courage to walk away, pack your bags and go. Walk away, get out of this karmic loop, right? The Divine Masculine calls you to walk towards your soul. What's not working, this emotionally unavailable, right? There's, let go. You deserve better. You deserve that sun energy that she's walking towards. Out of the karmic loop. So not, he awakens for you not to go back to your pain, to walk towards your soul. Listen to your body, listen to your soul. So the Eight of Cups is the journey towards real union, not with the other first, but with your own soul's knowing, your own soul's knowing, right? You go to your soul first. That is what these cards are showing. So what must collapse for true union to arrive? Queen of Cups reversed. So, like I've been saying, to receive true love, that Two of Cups energy, you've got to turn your cup inward. You got to fill up your own cup. Right? So this is like go inside. It's a big message of this reading. Go inside, Divine Feminine, and see, and only then can you love without leaking and give without draining, when you go inside first and find that self-love. Right? And it's already inside you. It's already there. Stop looking outside yourself, right? To the false twin or the true twin. You got to fill up your own cup here, right? You got to find your own self-love. And then you can hold. You're not going to be able to do all these things that I talked about at the beginning of the video until you fill up your own cup, right? Until you come in union with yourself. And then you can hold, because you'll be in your frequency. Right now you're depleted. You're weak. Like there's a weakness to you energetically. So fill your own cup here. Fill your own cup. Take your attention off the false twin, the true twin, whatever connection you're in, and bring your attention back to you. And then you can hold without absorbing other people, right? So what's the current status of the sacred mirror? The Two of Swords and the Knight of Swords. So the true twin is awakening, but still at a crossroads, right? So the Two of Swords shows his split. So he's split between mind and heart and fear and faith, right? The true twins have to be in faith. So the Knight of Swords says he's receiving the transmission in the field, right? Because the twins share an energetic field together. So he's feeling you. He's feeling you in the field, especially as you start to rise and you start to go internal and do this work and feel your grief. That transmission, remember, we're talking frequency, 15th gate, 20th key, right? He's going to feel that frequency, and he's already feeling it as you're rising, right? What you're transmitting out, which is your self-love, not towards him, but towards yourself. Right, so he's receiving the transmission already, but he may not yet know how to integrate that energy. He's thinking, he's running, he's analyzing, but beneath that, he feels you. He feels you. He just hasn't caught up with his body yet, and that's what the Divine Feminine helps the Divine Masculine do, is to bring him back into his body, right back into his body, but you got to get into your body first. Okay, so let's just do a quick wrap up here of the summary. So your pattern with the false twin is earning love through pain, through being in pain. And the true twin is grieving and releasing the fantasy. And then the false twin is mirroring your abandonment wound, And then the true twin is mirroring that you need to go inside to yourself. And what the false twin is awakening is your fear of leaving, to leave. And then the true twin is mirroring your courage to walk towards truth and your happiness. And what must collapse is the emotional martyr with the false twin, the emotional martyr. And then the true twin is what needs to collapse from the true twin connection is your own reclaiming. You have to reclaim your own self-nourishment, now. So where is he now? False twin. He's emotionally shut down. He's mentally reactive. He's a head on a stick, basically. And then the true twin, he's awakened, but he's not integrating yet with the duality. Okay, so that's what I got. An hour and 25 minutes. So just keep in mind, July 18th to the 20th is the next online retreat. And I'll have some copy up. Hopefully it's 111. This week, maybe. This week, if I can get that done. I think this week. Definitely by my next newsletter. And we'll be doing the father wound. So I'll have more of a better description of that. But that's definitely something that needs to happen quickly. In our own rhythm. Because we are in the 15 here. So be sure to like and subscribe. And especially if you found value in my my videos. That's one of the best things you can do for me is just like my video and comment. I love reading the comments. And there's so many high priestesses in hiding. And I just love when they express. So just take that little baby step forward and express, here I am, right? And then other people in the fractal can connect with you too. Okay, and what else? You can follow me on Instagram, Telegram, and YouTube. I post on my community tab too, and I do readings and other offerings too on my website. And I've got a free newsletter as well. Okay, so take good care of yourself this week and pivot and get into this new energy, and you'll find that things really start to get activated in your life when you're in alignment with your own frequency. Okay, Sat Nam Aloha, everybody. I will see you in the next video.